Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Bub's World. Look, here's the deal. I did a thing, right? As people say. So for the first time, I bought off Instagram claim sales live. So live claim sales on Instagram. I've never done it before. I didn't know what to expect. I've kind of been trolling a few of them for a while and checking out, seeing if it was something that I wanted to do. And so finally I pulled the trigger and I bought some stuff on an Instagram live claim sale. So let's see what I got.
You're watching Bub's Comics, Bub.
All right, so first off, I'm not even going to get into who the seller was. I'll tell you in a minute why, but basically I see these claim sales all the time on Facebook. I've had terrible luck on Facebook, so I pretty much don't buy on Facebook at all anymore. And I don't buy that much on eBay like I used to. So I just, after a while, you keep getting burned certain ways, certain things. So what happened on this one is that I've noticed that a lot of Golden Age books, especially the Planet Comics series that I'm trying to complete the run of, have been selling on Instagram. They've been trading hands a lot on Instagram. And I know this because I see someone post, I have like some saved searches like hashtag Planet Comics, right? So that's something I follow. And I noticed that a lot of people who were getting these Planet Comics books that I need, if you will, were getting them on Instagram live sales. And they were tagging the person who they got them from. Thanks for the great experience. Thanks for the great sale, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, I don't know how much they sold for, but I'd like to find out. So I started following some of the live sales that other people were picking up some great Golden Age books from, because if they're buying them at that price, then it may not be the price that I can afford, or the price that I necessarily, I hate using that term afford, but the price that I want to pay for the books. I have other things I want to spend my money on other than comics. I know, blaspheme, but I just feel like if someone thinks that this is a good value and they're picking it up on a claim sale, there might be something there to that. So let me investigate this further. So I did, and I started watching, and I saw that several books were going for prices I would have been willing to pay for them. So I said, you know what? That's it. I'm gonna take the plunge. And I've been watching a couple of them, and finally one popped up, and I just seeing how willing they were to work on some prices, and it all came down to this haul. So let's make me small and get to the haul. Yo! Whoop! Well, I disappeared there for a second. Oh, I'm back. All right, so the first one here is not a Planet Comics, but the next two are. This was kind of a throw-in book, if you will. After I had already started buying books, then you know you're going to be paying for shipping anyway, so you might as well get a couple of books thrown in. And this one I couldn't pass up. It's, I think, something of an exclusive, but it's Greg Horn doing Vampirella. So this is actually Vampirella Strikes number 3, and it's numbered 103 out of 350. And you can see this here. Just, I don't know what more you're looking for, guys. Look at that. That is fantastic. Now, Greg Horn has a style that sometimes really works. It almost always works on some level, but this one was just perfect. It's a contender for one of my favorite Vampirella covers, of which I have a few. But this one just, I don't know what more you want out of a cover. Greg Horn knocking it out of the park. I gave the sellers a hard time because right after they sold me this book, they put another one up that had a signature on it. I was like, grr. But in any case, I'll find him, get him sign it. But it's a fantastic book. I usually prefer trade dresses, but where this was so much of the cover was dedicated to her, and you can see kind of how the trade dress looked. It was okay, but I really like the way that this looks as a virgin variant. So very pleased to have that. Picked that up for a few bucks and super proud of it. So this next book is what started it all. When I saw this book, I was working. There were a couple other books I was trying to get, but this one was just too good to pass up for the price they wanted. It's got its issues, but here it is. Planet Comics number 20. Rivet covers. Those go up to, I think, 23 or so. But look at that. Number 20 is from 1942. Nice Dan Zelnerowicz cover. You can see there. Just awesome. Got like an alligator type dragon monster fighting her. She's turned her ray gun around. She's gonna clobber him on the head. You got this dude fighting for his life. There's plenty more monsters in the background coming after him. She's in some sort of goop or another. I guess it could be water, but it looks awful slimy. Got her little heels showing there, little blue heels. Flint Baker battles the nightmare monsters of the space's Forbidden Isle in Winged Man-Eaters of the Exile Star. There they are. They're the Winged Man-Eaters. But they're eating a woman, so I guess they're equal opportunity eaters. That's what we're going to go with. But I just absolutely love that. Anytime I can get a Rivet cover affordably, I'll do it. So the issue with this book, it's a 0.5. Missing the back cover, sadly, but the front cover is what I'm after on this one. Missing the back cover, but then also inside of it, there turned out to be a panel ripped out. That's why I'm not going to mention the seller, because it's not really a big deal to me. But I did make them aware of it, and they said, thank you for letting us know. So no discount offered or any kind of rebate. I wasn't looking for one, so I'm okay with that. But basically, here's something I learned going through, and well, I'll get back to that after this next haul. So here's another one, Planet Comics 38. So now this wasn't in a live sale. So after I was dealing with the seller on these two, I went back and I saw that they had a post of some more books, and they had some more Planet books, and this was one of them. And I sent them a list of all the ones I needed. This one fit the bill for the price range I was looking for. They offered it to me. We negotiated and we made the deal. It's a beautiful, the colors on this are fantastic. Planet Comics number 38, just awesome. Look at that girl there doing the best she can to stay alive in the face of extreme excitement. Those monsters, 4 arms, 2 legs, we assume. Yeah, they're battling. It looks like some sort of arena. Look at her wing-tipped heels. Nice long J. Scott Campbellish legs. A couple of torpedoes being fired there. Just looking great. The newest thrill feature, Mista of the Moon. Also Lost World, Star Pirate, Space Rangers, and many others. This is a nice Joe Doolin cover, I believe. This one's coming from 1944, memory serves. Nice Fiction House cover there. So this one was rated like probably a 2.0 or so, I think, there and abouts. And it was a so this one they had a 0.5, this one had a 2.0, and when I got it, I looked through it, centerfold's detached. So same seller, same issue. So again, I'm not complaining, because even with the centerfold detached, actually the presentation's higher than that. I think it's still about a 2.0. Like, to me, you know, this was already missing the back cover, so missing a panel on the inside doesn't matter at that point. It's already a 0.5, but it would be notated it's incomplete because it's already missing the back cover. So it's incomplete, 0.5. This would probably be a 2.0 even with the centerfold detached. So that's where I'm at. So I noticed, so here's my tip when doing these claim sales online. Here's my tip. If you are going to show up, so in other words, if you're not there at the beginning watching the whole thing, and these things can go for a couple of hours, so you really have to invest quite a bit of time if this is what you're going to do. It's almost like going to a comic shop or to a convention. You kind of have to look at it that way. Like, I'm going to take 2 hours out of my day and see if I can buy some comics at this claim sale. And you kind of have an idea what you're looking for, and you should already know the prices of the things you're looking for, because chances are you're not going to have time to start researching a bunch of stuff. If it's a good deal, someone else is going to get it. You know, these things have anywhere from, 50 to 150 people watching at the same time. So there's a little bit of competition there to see who gets the book. So what happens is, and I heard this, and this is not directed at this seller specifically, and that's why I say I'm not going to mention who the seller was. This is not directed at this seller specifically, because of all the ones that I've been watching, it seems to be a common theme. No, like for instance, I was watching one the other night that had a Daredevil #1, right? And this thing had all kinds of problems. I mean, there was writing on the inside, there was schmutz on the cover, the back cover had a hole in it, it was, you know, missing something or a coupon or something like that. I mean, this thing was a 0.5 and it had lots of problems. But because they priced it accordingly and at a fair price, everybody was jumping in. And as soon as they showed up at the live sale, even if it was, you know, an hour or 2 hours later, they were like, hey, what's the story on that Daredevil 1? So in the beginning, the seller went through the whole list of things that were wrong with this Daredevil 1. The first time someone asked about it, the first time he put it on the wall, he said, here's what's going on, list it all. Well, then about 5 minutes later, somebody pops in, hey, what's the story on that Daredevil 1? And that, as you can imagine, continued for a good solid hour of someone just popping up every 10 minutes saying, hey, what's the deal on that Daredevil 1? So every time the guy told the story, he left like one thing off the list that was wrong with it. Well, by the time 2 hours went by, this guy was just like, look, it's a 0.5, it's got problems. Here's the price. You know, because he was exhausted, wasting so much time retelling the story of what's wrong with this. If you go on eBay or mycomicshop.com, link below, if you go to all that stuff, you find out that they have a listing and you can read through the listing and you can see what's wrong with the book. And it's the better books are more detailed. You know, if the cost is higher, I mean, there'd be more detailed involved. So you can go through all that. But what do you find out? You find out that if you like it or you don't like it, or hit your check boxes of things that you can stand or can't stand in a low grade book, then you move on. Well, with this poor guy in the claim sale, everybody was asking about the same, you know, 5 or 6 books, low grade, and just fussing and trying to get more information out of the guy. So my point is, I don't blame the sellers at that point. It just becomes something that you have to be aware of. If you're buying Golden Age books or anything that might be low grade from a claim sale, you have to know that whatever they estimate the grade at, it could include everything that potentially is wrong with that book and still be at that grade. So if you're good with the grade and you're good with the price, you can ask questions if you want. And sometimes people would say, what's the deal with that, you know, Daredevil 1? And they would go through it. But again, they would leave off a few things that they had mentioned earlier. So you just kind of have to be good with it. It's the nature of the beast, and it's the reason why you're getting some of these books at lower prices. My favorite way to buy a book is in person, of course, at a convention or something like that, because then I get to inspect the book. And almost invariably with these older books that are even in rough condition, I'll ask, can I see the book out of the bag? They'll show me the book. And as I'm going through it, no matter what they've written on that little tag at the top that tells you everything wrong with the book and why it's the condition it is, when you look at the book, there's always 2 or 3 things more wrong with it than are disclosed before you bought it. So if you just threw your money down and took the book, then you take your chances. So I kind of look at it the same way. These live sales, these live claim sales, you're taking a chance, and that's why you're getting it a little cheaper. And as long as in the end result grade doesn't change, then I'm not going to be requesting any kind of refund or discount or anything like that. I knew the risk. I bought the book, and it is the grade they said it would be, but I'm not going to, you know, quibble about the notes that are going to end up on the grading. You know, the grading notes. I'm not going to argue about grading notes. The grade is the grade. And I'll even give them 0.5 up or down in accuracy and be happy with that. So there's my story. Instagram claim sale, first one I've ever done. My tip to you is know what you're getting into and you'll be happier for it. And whatever they say the grade is, that's pretty much all you can hold them to, in my opinion. But if you've had a different experience, let me know. You know, tell me down below if you've done these sales and never had a problem. That's great. I don't consider this to have been a problem, just kind of a learning experience. And if you've done these types of sales and you found them to be, you know, just horrible and you've had terrible experiences, I want to hear about that too, because we can definitely learn from each other on this. So here you go. There's my Planet 38. Absolutely gorgeous. Planet 20. We're knocking down these planets and we're getting all over the front door of it. And there's some more just goodness there. Greg Horn doing what Greg Horn does. All right. Well, that's all I've got for you. And I'll catch you next time. Remember to read a comic and don't you fall. Read a comic and don't apologize for the glare. Bye-bye.
Now subscribe, you egg-sucking pieces of gutter trash. Now.